next presenter is Rana Segal. She has over 20 years' experience as an expert in tarot. She teaches, does personal and corporate readings, master classes with WayOnNet, and today she'll be talking with us on tarot, types of fortune and types of wealth. Welcome, Rana Segal.
All right, let's get this show on the road. Hi everyone. Thank you for coming to hear my presentation, and I also would like to thank the International Feng Shui Association for inviting me to speak here today. It's a real honour. Now, many of my tarot readings are people questioning, where is my fortune? Which makes me question, why is fortune telling associated with tarot? But what is real fortune? Yes, we all know that gypsies took tarot around the world as they did the dance. They kept a lot of the tarot secret and they made a lot of money out of it as well. And today people still expect tarot readers to wear the big hooped earrings and the scarves and the crystal balls. But today I'm going to take you through the tarot suit of the Pentacles to see what the tarot message is about, what the tarot message is telling us about fortune and wealth. The Pentacles in the tarot represents the material wealth in the real world, like money and possessions, and the inner value system in the spiritual world. They also connect to the element of earth, so we've got that grounded, sensible, practical energy coming through. Throughout the Pentacle suit, we will see how we humans process what is of value to us, how we embrace wealth, how passionate we are about it, our fears, our failures, our successes about becoming wealthy. We also look at the cycles of time, the time it takes to create real fortune, the difference between monetary wealth and spiritual wealth, and can we really achieve having both? All these questions and more will be answered throughout my presentation, and if we have time at the end, I'll gladly answer some questions at the end. Otherwise, I'll be at my table and I welcome you to come and talk to me there. So firstly, let's look at the Wheel of Fortune. So, does this work? Yay! The Wheel of Fortune is one of the major arcana cards, and here you can see the Rider-Waite. I use the Rider-Waite when I teach. It's the most popular and the most well-recognised tarot suit in the whole world. And I've also got the Mythic Tarot on the other side. You can see the three fates weaving and spinning your fortune. The Wheel of Fortune is also known as the Wheel of Time. The wheel turns as does the four seasons. It's not saying that summer is better than winter. Each serves its purpose. Just like there's a time for us to be happy and there's a time for us to be sad. Sometimes we feel like we're on top of things and other times we are not. And it's hard to get to the top of the wheel and to stay on top of the wheel. It's so easy to fall off or get even pushed off. Look at what happened to our Prime Minister, Kevin Rudd, for example. He got up there okay, but he was quickly pushed off his perch. When we're on the bottom of the wheel, we have the opportunity to have a really good look at ourselves, our attitudes, the way we do things, what is of real value to us, what we don't like about ourselves. And when we come back up around, we have the opportunity to change these things. And this is why this card is called the Wheel of Fortune. In the Mythic card, you can see there's a little fellow sitting cross-legged on the top of the wheel, and then he's falling down, and he's then laying down contemplating the situation, and then the slow climb back up to get back on top of the wheel. In the Rider-Waite, you also see the Sphinx sitting on top of the wheel, holding the sword. The sword connects to the air element and our, that decisive part of us. It's resting comfortably in his hand, and he's not using the sword to turn the wheel faster or to slow it down. And maybe the Sphinx represents our higher self, just watching to see how our life unfolds. So this card suggests that things change all the time and to be aware of the change, and that there's also wheels within wheels, and that certain things in life stay fixed. And by that I mean that if our life ends, that everything still keeps turning. Some days we have plenty, and other days we just don't know where it's going to come from. The people that are aware of the wheel turning really achieve, a lot. And then there's people that just do nothing. And in fact, you can just sit there and breathe, and your life will still unfold. Things will still happen to you. You might lose your job, you might lose your house, but you'll still be living and moving. And then there's those that are very proactive, and they're the people that say, for things to be, it's up to me, and they actively go out there and find themselves that better job. Moving along to the next slide. So here we're starting to go through the minor arcana, and the first card is the Two of Pentacles, and you can see someone juggling two things that are of value to him. And normally it's two things in our life that is of value to us. You can see there's a green infinity symbol around the Two Pentacles, and he's also wearing green shoes. And green is the colour of growth and potentiality and fertility. To me, that infinity symbol looks like a bicycle chain that just goes round and round. And he also looks like he's dancing, so he's got to keep in motion to keep the balance happening. He's also got his back to the water, showing that he's not emotionally involved in the situation. And he wears the colours of red and orange, symbolising his passion, he's courageous, he has vitality, he's got the energy to do it. So basically, whatever he is juggling, he can keep juggling these two values to infinity and beyond, suggesting there's no way he can drop those pentacles. So this card may represent a mother juggling work and family life, maybe someone balancing two relationships. In business, it may indicate there's not a lot of money, but everything still works. If we have a split with money, this card would suggest equal splitting, because the number 2 is all about the balance and the harmony and equality. So this card really does show that you can eat your cake and eat it too. You know, how many times you hear that saying that you can eat your cake, you can have a cake but you can't eat it? Well, this card says that you can have both, but not to get emotionally involved in the situation. You have to be creative with it. You have to constantly keep bringing in fresh and new ideas. Remember, it keeps him on his toes and he's not that emotionally involved, so he can take appropriate steps and keep it all working like a well-oiled machine. Also, some people are happy with a little, and everything works well for them. The next slide, we have the 3 of Pentacles. Now, this is one of my favourite tarot cards. I have a few of them. We see here 3 people coming together to build something. We see a church. There is plenty of brickwork and symbolising stability and building something, and also the grey, the colour grey symbolises wisdom. There's also the black background, meaning unmanifested life. It's still in progress. In fact, this is the only tarot card with the pentacles that are not gold, suggesting that they will turn gold when the work is completed. We have a monk. He maybe had the idea. The architect, you can see he's dressed very flash. He probably drew the plans for the monk, and you can see he's holding the plans in his hands. And the builder is on the bench holding a mason's hammer, chipping away at something. And so all 3 are showing you that are actively working. They're on the job site. This card represents that you need a team of people coming together to make the whole project work. It indicates physical work, preparation. This is not about theory. There is much research that needs to be planned for this project to get off the ground. And this card clearly shows hard work and commitment towards the goal, to the point that it almost is a spiritual journey, a labour of love. And you can see he's wearing the colours of pink and orange, and the pink bench and orange bench that the Freemason, not the Freemason, what is he? What did I call him? The builder. Are standing on, showing you that it's a spiritual love, it's spiritual involvement here, it's a vocation, it's a calling for them. And today, many people don't put this amount of effort into their work or into their goals, projects. We have a new word today, it's called entitlement. People just expect it. But look at all the practical efforts this card shows that it takes to manifest your ideas into reality. In the 4 of Pentacles, we have someone that looks like he's worked very hard for his lot and doesn't want to part with it. And who blames him? You know, he's worked hard for his money. Now he's placed the pentacles over his crown, his heart and his feet chakra, as if he's totally closing himself off. And the black shawl also indicates invisibility, that unmanifested colour. You can see there's a thin strip of blue, which is the colour for emotions and feelings, on the bottom of his hem, denoting that these feelings and emotions are low on his list of priorities at the moment, that he's more focused on the material and less on the spiritual world for now. And the brown cloth that he wears, the reddy brown cloth, suggests he's a very committed and hard-working person. So this card shows he's made his money in the big city. You can see he's got the city in the background. He's achieved what he's come here for, and now he turns his back to the city so he can leave, he can go back home or move on to the next stage of his life. And this card often does get a bad rap, but it really, to be successful, sometimes you have to keep your plans close to your chest. You know, when you say too much to others, not everyone will agree with you or support you. Especially here in Australia, we have the tall poppy syndrome. Does everybody understand the tall poppy syndrome that we have here? Another example of this card is when you travel, you rein in your spending and you do save a lot of money, to the point you think to yourself that you should keep up this saving because look how much you save. For example, if you save $10 a day, that's $70 a week. How much is that in a year? $3,650. That's pretty easy. All right, let's move on to the Five of Pentacles. This card is as bad as it's going to get. And this couple has to lose absolutely everything for them to move on to the next stage of the journey. So this card is totally displaying material and spiritual impoverishment. You can see how wounded they both are. They're walking in the same direction and they're not even helping each other. One is wearing the blue garment, suggesting that emotional and spiritual energy is very low. He's on crutches. He's wearing a leprosy bell. So back in the olden days, you know, if you wore a leprosy bell, you were shunned. The lady's wearing no shoes and her clothes are ragged, suggesting the material poverty. They're out in the cold snow, walking past a church window. The stained glass window shows a mini tree of life, suggesting there is growth here, but they're not looking up. They don't have faith. Also note, back in the olden days, only the rich and wealthy went to church, which further adds to their low self-esteem. So this card denotes how depressed we may all feel when we don't have that money or that spiritual upliftment. And some people actually have to be evicted from their homes for them to learn the lessons and turn their life around. And the classic of all stories is Donald Neil Walsh. He wrote the series of books called Conversations with God. Do we know those books? He lost his home, his family, his work, and ended up in a tent in a caravan park. Unless he hit that low of lows, he wasn't able to turn it around. He also needed to have that experience to know what he was talking about, to write those books. Now he travels the world helping other people face their grief. The number 5 is also a very uncomfortable number for some people. It means change. It means the upgrade, the shift, movement, as well as travel. We are halfway through this cycle and some things have to change before we go the rest of the way. But we don't like it. We will resist change. We don't like seeing people change around us as well. We just don't like change. One example I can give you is your home, upgrading your home computer. Oh my God, the struggle that I went through for 2 months to get it all working good again. But when it does settle down, things are great. It's even better. So this card says it's important to have self-esteem, self-confidence and trust in self. And this is that spiritual upliftment. There's no point in selling your house for money or even being in a relationship or having a palace for that matter if you don't have that inner self-worth. And a change may be to understand that when you love yourself first, then other people will love you. When you trust yourself first, then other people will trust you. And when you respect yourself first, then other people will respect you. In the Six of Pentacles, here the story changes dramatically. We have here what looks like a lawyer holding the scales in his left hand. So the left hand symbolises the unconscious side. And he's handing out money to people in the blue and the yellow, that the emotional and that material impoverishment. Maybe they're the couple that we saw in the Five of Pentacles. He's handing out money to them with his right hand. So he's conscious about doing this. This person understands on that intuitive level regarding the balance of giving and receiving. And many people in prominent positions, or the higher we get, the more higher we vibrate, the more we understand this balance. For example, there are many lawyers, doctors, other professionals that give freely of their service to people in real need, as well as pledge to well-deserved charities. This card suggests that the universe knows how to balance our karma. The universe knows how much we give and take and balances out for us accordingly. As the saying goes, there's no free lunch. No free lunches. When this card shows up in a reading, I would discuss with the client where in their life they feel out of balance. And for example, in a relationship reading, who in the relationship is giving more than the other? And if someone gives all the time and gets nothing in return, after a while resentment will set in. They will feel used. So we need to talk about bringing back that balance. In the Seven of Pentacles scenario, we have someone who's planted a crop and now he's looking at it and reassessing it before he goes the rest of the way. The crop did produce a harvest. You can see the offshoot at his feet, but he's ignoring it. Maybe he expected more. And how often do we feel like this too? We set ourselves up to fail maybe. You know, we start something, we have this great intention. You know, sometimes we are unrealistic. But this guy, you can see the pink and blue colours at his feet, suggesting he's put his heart and soul into this project. And the huge purple mountains in the distance suggest spiritual aspirations, challenges, the goal we want to conquer. This card suggests we feel we haven't had the return we expected to have, and now it's time to weigh things up, to see if we can do it better, an easier way, or should we pull the roots out completely and start again somewhere else. It refers to something that we've had for a long time, because the plants don't fruit overnight. It might be an investment of some sort, it might even be a long-term relationship. We all experience this feeling. Some people call it the plateau. We hit this plateau in business as well as in relationships. We travel along in our work and one day it just hits us. It hits us that we're not satisfied with what we are doing and can we do it better, and so we contemplate our next moves. And the key to this card is that if you love doing what you're doing, you will continue doing it, even if you just get that little return. But if you don't love it anymore, you will pull the roots out. Now in the Eight of Pentacles, we see a man so caught up in his work, he doesn't want to see the next stage of development. You can see there's no more room left on the pole for his pentacles, and they're spilling all over the place. He has his back to the city, and he also wears that black apron. And he sits quite comfortably on the bench, hoping that no one sees him. You can say he's in his comfort zone. And how often do we have this experience as well? If I just chip away here, no one's going to look at me. So this card is saying that it is a perfect time for this person to take the product to town. You can see there's a yellow path with a city in the background. But some people have a fascination with perfection. But when is everything really perfect? You know, question, who is the biggest critic of you? You, yourself. So we're looking at someone here that may be afraid of success, afraid of failure, afraid of change. We all feel this. Sometimes the best thing to happen for these people is to actually get sacked, you know, get kicked out, and then that forces you to move to the next stage. Another way to look at this card is that, you know, all that hard work you're doing is paying off. Some people like to do that physical work, and this card suggests it's very profitable. In the Nine of Pentacles, we see a lady that I strive to be. This is another one of my favourite tarot cards. Note that this card could also represent a man. You can see she's surrounded in a rich, lush garden. She's wearing gold with what looks like Venus symbols on her gown. And the symbol of Venus is abundant and unconditional love. So she may be pregnant or pregnant with something that she's about to give birth to. All that lush greenery represents that growth potential. There are pentacles on her left side as well as her right side, demonstrating a good balance of giving and receiving. The trees are perfectly symmetrical on either side of her, and there's a castle in the background. There's a falcon sitting comfortably on her left arm, her unconscious side, which suggests she intuitively understands this power and energy. And on the bottom right-hand corner of the card, you can see a snail. And the snail connects with our past threads, and they're very fragile. They're very slow compared to falcons. So this card suggests to achieve this position, this status, we have to put in the effort to receive the rewards life has to offer. Just like her garden, there's that planning, that curing of the plants, the preparation to taste that sweet fruit of your labour. And she's attained what she's worked for. She's reached independent financial wealth through hard work and effort. In the Ten of Pentacles, we have a whole family scenario showing you their wealth and status here. There is the grandfather. He's wearing the coat of many colours, depicting, you can see, very fruitful and lush richness and wealth. There's a couple under the archway. One looks like they're coming home. The other one looks like they're going out. They may be sharing something. They may be arguing. We don't know. I like to think that they're talking about how to stay on top of that tower, because you can see the tower is in between them. So this card speaks about keeping up with the Joneses. And, wealthy families have to be seen as doing the right thing. There is a child holding on to the mother, but the mother does not look at the child. Children in the tarot represent future. The child has its hand on the grey dog. Dogs represent instinctual wisdom, and both dogs are looking at the old man. They know he's got the magic that the others aren't seeing. And the old man is giving guidance to the young child through that touch through the dogs. So this card suggests that sometimes with well-to-do families, the attention or focus is to look to the outer world to uphold their status and position. And it's expected of them. And it's the children that may suffer or get overcompensated with material things. The number 10 also suggests renewal, the new beginning, the next generation. And an example I can give you is look at Queen Elizabeth's family. Prince William and Prince Harry, they're the new generation. And look how they have brought the new changes to the family. And the family had to bend and change to survive the times. Prince Charles married a divorced woman, and Prince William married a commoner. Totally unheard of before. Which then brings us to the Ace of Pentacles. In the Rider-Waite, the aces come after the 10. They're too much force for a new beginning. They're the biggest pentacle, the biggest sword, the biggest cup. So aces are about attainment, accomplishment, and here you can see the pentacle held over a beautiful garden, and the garden is complete. It's rich and lush. It's not the beginning of the garden. The archway is totally covered over, the hedge is trimmed to perfection. There's red roses and white lilies in full bloom. So through hard work and effort, internally and externally, it has richly paid off here. For example, like planting a seed in the garden. You first have to prepare the soil, put in the proper nutrients, weather all the seasons and the storms, and you have to be patient as well for the tree to bear that ripe fruit for you. Same as investing in property, you have to wait years for that good return. You can see there's blue mountains through the archway, suggesting that through that hard work there is spiritual growth. And to make your vocation your vacation, that would be your ideal scenario. Which brings us back around to the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune tells us that we're ready to go around again on another level. Now, I just touched on a little of each of these cards, but what have we discovered so far? Do some people get it easier than others? No. We all have that equal share. We all get what we put in. As the saying goes, what ye sow, so shall ye reap. And in our heart of hearts, we all know what we deserve, what we will get. Can we have both material and spiritual wealth? Yes, I believe we can. The Two of Pentacles said that we can. And to reach enlightenment, you can do that through what you personally contribute. But you have to put that work and effort to succeed. It's like when you first bought your first car. Remember how it felt great to build the resources, the money? It built your self-esteem. It becomes a spiritual journey. Whatever your project or goal is, you should feel that sense of pride and accomplishment for a job well done. Look at people in CEO positions, or many are Rotarians and they give back to the community. Look at people like Oprah and Alan and Richard Branson and Bill Gates. They also, look what they contribute to the world. These people totally get true wealth and fortune, and they are abundant with it, which in turn uplifts them. So what is real fortune? Well, the tarot, the journey of the Pentacles in the tarot suggests it's a slow journey towards your goal with much research, disappointment, change, reassessment, as well as acknowledgement and accomplishments along the way. Yes, some people have to lose a lot in life to see what they really had. Others put in a whole lot of effort and achieve heaps. And others say, what happened? But whatever is of value to you, this is your tool, your game that you can play to achieve excellence and spiritual enlightenment. And if you can benefit others along the way, it will bring you even further fortune. And I truly believe this is what we've all come here to do. Gather that information, solve the problems, and if you can do this, then you can assume you're doing what you've come here to do. I like to finish with a couple of quotes. The first one is from T.S. Eliot, his famous phrase, "We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time." I love that quote. And another one from Osho, "I'm not against success. Let me remind you again, I'm not saying don't be successful. I have nothing against it. It is perfectly good. What I am saying is don't be motivated by it. Otherwise you will miss painting, you will miss poetry, you will miss the song that you are singing right now. And when success comes, you have only empty hands because nobody can be filled by success. Success cannot nourish you. It has no nutrients. Success is just hot air." A couple of interesting quotes about the journey to success and fortune. And now for my plug. If you want to explore the hidden keys in the tarot in more detail, I invite you to do my 6-month tarot class, or perhaps you can purchase my 22 videos and watch them from the comfort of your own home. If you want to come and talk to me at my products table, please do. I'll be here the whole weekend. Any questions? We've got a few minutes. No? No? Okay, well, I trust you enjoyed my presentation on tarot and fortune, and thank you for joining me today. Thank you.